Good afternoon. My name is Stan Bogarts. I'm a Smart Building Solution Manager within Proximus. And I'm going to talk to you about upgrading your office with the right digital services today. I think the world has never changed as fast as today. We are in a quite digital tipping point. We can see this also already right here. Most of you are at home, and we are here explaining what we are going to do and what's the impact on that. And we will see this accelerating more and more and more within the future. But what is actually the translation on that on your workplace? Do you really have a clear vision on what impacts your workplace and how digitalization will include that? Well, we have, or we thought about it at least. We think that actually it's very important to have an open and intrusive solution where you will be able to actually make sure of the well-being, the efficiency from the people itself, from your workforce, and to make sure that you provide every service that you can, making sure that your own customers or your own work will be in the most positive way you can. There are a lot of trends going on, so I think all of us are used to work from home right now, but what would it take within the future? Will we remain working at home, or will it shift towards primarily work at home? It's an ease. Is it not an ease? Will we go back to work? Will we go back to an HQ? Will we go back to a hybrid way of working? All these kind of things, all these trends are running around right now, and it's actually quite a lot of trends that have an influence on the full workplace, where we will adapt, we will work, and we will actually make sure that we have a full running economy and actually make the most of what we are doing. Now, one of the things that is quite clear for us is actually it will be an intuitive way of working, but in a kind of way there is also demand of being at place, being at work, being at your colleagues or with your colleagues to make something special on that perspective. But linked to every individual, one of them is rather working at home, rather working in this with his colleagues in an environment with other colleagues, with maybe other companies. Nevertheless, it's a quite personal approach, and this is something that we need to take care of. Will we go back to the office, or we will remain in remote working? I think none of them will be as black as white on that. There is a full gray zone, and I think in this gray zone that we will interact and we will make sure that that will happen forward. What is quite important that if you will go to a personalized way of working is that it will be fully user-centric, really personalized user-centric. What means actually that I need to have the best user experience to go to work and make sure that I'm not losing my efficiency, driving over there, making sure that I have a parking space, making sure that I can do EV charging with my car, making sure that I have the right meeting room with the right facilities, having a screen and being able to share, being able to interact with my colleagues or with maybe customers, even in a digital way at home or at the HQ. Now, one of the things on that is that Proximus already has this underneath their wings. We already done this before. I think in the full aspect of Corona, we were the ones with our workplace as a service solutions that were the one to first to respond. There were companies that were already customers from us, where we were already explaining what we were doing. We had digital services, we had integration of multiple tools, but then yet it was not enough. We need to accelerate with our customers to support them. On the other side, there were companies that were fully HQ prototyped and wanted to work at work, close the door and go at home and don't have any connection anymore. It's really the black-white story. Nevertheless, we needed to support them and make sure that they were able to intervene and get more digital services with their people to remain possible working in the way that they would like to do. Now that's an interesting thing, because on that aspect we already have this experience. Now if we take this back towards the workplace environment itself, actually we close the door in a kind of way. But how does this evolve in the future of what was actually the interaction, what was done before? Now we've seen that there is a lot of experience in co-working and so on, and there you had the impact of the new co-working, maybe linked towards the 2010s, where you had the hospitality service going over it. So the more fancy things you could do in an office actually would make sure that you have more attractiveness, more people coming towards the office and willingness to go to that location. For many reasons, because the lunch was good, because the interaction with other people were good, or because your colleagues were over there and you had a nice environment to go through. Then we saw a shift in the workplace application that actually digital came up and made sure that you had certain insights. Now the thing is to make certain insights, and so in a digital way you can measure a kind of occupancy, but then it remains within the occupancy. So you digitize in a kind of way, but you remain working in silos. The evolution, what we've seen happening right now, and this is evolving as we speak, is that it becomes more smarter. We want to know actually what the occupancy is, but we want to interact it with energy system, with HVAC systems, maybe with the possibility to provide other services to other customers, to other people that want to join the location that you created, and make abuse or even improvements on that, on making sure that you have the efficiency for every individual in the environment to support on that perspective. And then comes the next level, and we come towards the personal approach. If you have these surroundings, the support, and you can actually transform every workspace into a personal workspace where you have interaction with the people, the reason why you're coming towards the office, or where you have the personal need to come to the office, or to do meetings, to do interactions, to do maybe a lunch, maybe it's a customer lunch. To have all this in a centralized place, in a central workplace, or a hybrid workplace, with all facilities linked towards mobility around, then we come to a really intelligent building, an intelligent workplace, and a full integration linked with, of course, GDPR compliance, with possible nudging, as we talked in the plenary session, the possibility to get a nomad action and a personalized approach where they have the full capacity, the full well-being, the full work-life balance into your approach. Nevertheless, we can discuss a lot about it. You need to go to a new building, you need to go to a retrofitting building. What is very important to know in the full aspect is it a single tenant or a multi-tenant building? Actually, it doesn't matter. The only thing that matters is the people that are in the building, or that will take use of the building and will interact with it. That's the main important thing. What is important to see in that perspective is that you have energy under control, you have the comfort, you have the work-life balance that has an impact on the health, or actually the war on talent. And then you can ask your question, you as a facility provider, or as a HQ manager, let's say it like this, what would you do with the cost efficiency with the building? Will we downscale on the square meters that we provide towards our users, or will we actually make an integration that we make it in a shareable model? It's a question. It's more a vision that you need to take care, and it's a link towards the culture of the company, where you can open up and make an operational or an effective model of the usage of your building. And then it comes quite interesting. But then the question is, how do we evolve this within the people that are in the surroundings? We already talked about activity-based working. Everybody knows that. Event-based, team-based. Everything is every time a circle that we go around. But in the end, we come to the perspective that it's actually personalized based working. The personality will interact with the building, will interact with the people in his surrounding, and have an impact on his personal efficiency, but also on the efficiency of the company and the results of the company itself. And this is something that we research on that perspective, with a huge thank towards the partners that we made up for that. What we do actually on that perspective is we develop and integrate the smart building solutions for our customers. What is important from that perspective is that we really increase the efficiency of the building, of the people that are in the building, and improve the comfort actually of interacting with the full system. Of course, we want to make sure that the ease to maintain. And then we come back towards the discussion we had, or the slide that we explained on a digital building, a smart building, or intelligent building. And this is actually supporting in a multiple way how we can approach it, how we can make an ease of interaction with the facility manager, with the occupiers, with the users of the building, of interactions with the building. All of this, making sure that we have a less economical footprint, but also ecological footprint, has the strong ability or the possibilities from Proximus to integrate. I'm very happy to pronounce today that we actually for that created a new naming, let's say, OSCO it's called, Office Service Company. Probably a lot of you will know ESCO, Energy Service Company, and this is on this way that we try to interact with you and support you in a full way. We don't do this alone. We had some support of other customers, and we would like to thank on that the integration and the support that we received from District, where we are able to provide strategic advisory, implementation services, technical consulting, and full managed services, being able to fully support our clients in the full digitization or the services that they can provide for their building or for their workplace as is today. Going from the home office towards the full workplace or HQ or even hybrid working and all aspects in between. Talking about mobility, talking about EV charging, even driving your bike towards the office where you reserve the meeting room with all possible facilities. All created in one solution, leveraged by the technology. And that's a quite important aspect. But how do you bring this into real life? And then we come to the aspect of creating a full corporate mobile application, being able to support you in all these multiple factors, having a seamless and intuitive connection, let's say a kind of a service, butler service that will provide you, support you in every step you will go through your building. Going from the access control, providing access towards the parking lot, going to reserving a desk, meeting rooms, lunch, and so on, in all multiple seamless way, one application that can support you, making sure that you have all these services and make the most actually out of the building, making sure that you have the best comfort in interacting and working at this location if you're willing towards going towards a certain location. And that's a quite important step that we want to take. And this is the model actually that we would like to proceed on that perspective. Going then towards the smart workplace model itself, it creates the possibility to provide you with smart IT infrastructure to make sure that you have the right connectivity, make sure that you connect from the moment you come towards the location or your workplace location. Nevertheless, it's at home, somewhere else at the satellite office or at the HQ. Making sure that there's an interaction with the machines or the machinery that is inside. I think you heard a lot about it also in artificial intelligence machine learning that will or is able to support you in making sure that the comfort is okay, that you're in a healthy building, that the CO2 measurements are coming to the right location, and to have the best ventilation systems at place and at ease, even when there is somebody else before you in the meeting room and you coming back into a healthy place. Making sure that your users are smart enough and be supported by interacting with them, and making sure that they, for example, don't book a meeting room of 10 people if you just need a meeting room for 2 people. If you know that there is a meeting maybe of 10 people and 8 people are interacting from another satellite office or from a home office in a hybrid way of working, of course, then we need to make sure that you don't have a big meeting room with a lot of space by just using two chairs on that perspective. And this provides you a full solution that is able to provide you smart spaces. These smart spaces will interact with you, will support you depending on what you would like to do, how you would like to do it. Do you want to do it in a silent mode? Do you want it to do an interactive mode? Do you want to have a brainstorm session? All things fit on that perspective and will have an inclusion in interaction with you through a centralized workplace application that will be able to support you in all different ways. Then it becomes interesting because all these different points need to be centralized and need to make sure that it's addressable on the right cost efficiency. And this is something that we need to take care and make sure that the platform supports you on that perspective, and make sure that you can jump from region to region, but also from tenant to tenant. As you can see over here in the slide, it's a building that never sleeps. The new buildings, what we will have today, will have an interaction with all different aspects. It will have a parking lot, it will have EV charging, it will have access control, but mainly it will also have retail maybe inside. It will have single tenant, it will have multi-tenant possibilities, and maybe even housing. What if you can centralize it just with one product, connected of course to the right connectivity, and with that opening the door from the moment you need it. Making sure that you have charging possibilities from the moment they are accessible and needful for you as a car, and making sure that others can also provide with the same services and same interaction as you, and actually making sure that you're as efficient or others are as efficient depending on their personal approach and their personal things that they would like to approach to. And this is where we have an additional product that we will bring right now into the market, linked towards a full end-to-end concept, going actually from digital service that we already brought to you as a home, connecting the digital workplace towards the real physical workplaces, nevertheless at what location you are, and even being sure that you will interact the same possibilities within your home office, or have the same service possibilities. With this, actually, we upgrade your office with digital services, and therefore we have one platform with a clear overview. not only for you as a user with a huge UX possibilities, but also for the facility management to be able to keep those costs under control, and actually to make sure that you provide an operational model or an operational supportive building, making sure that you have the best of your efficient time linked towards the right problems or the right interactions within your building. For that, we integrated really the physical and the digital environment and the needs of on this perspective. We keep the costs under control, and we empower the business to go further in the new workplace, from home towards hybrid towards HQ, and that's very important. And then it's an interesting question to know, how is your office actually, or what is your office, or at what location, where is your office? It's an important thing to keep in mind and to make sure on the vision how you want to proceed and how we can interact and support you in the next level, on making sure that your workspace is ready to do the next step in going to digital in an efficient and cost-effective way, even in an operational way. And this is what we can bring with the OSCO model. This means that we actually have the life cycle of the building under control, and we can keep it up towards the right level. You don't come to a stabilized product where you actually, after 5 to 7 years, you need to reinvent and redesign actually the full building to make it attractive enough, and that it's not getting as an old grumpy building that nobody wants to come towards anymore. Everybody knows the aspect when there is new walling, new painting, let's say, on the wall. Everybody's excited to go back towards the office to see the new environment. Well, what if we can make this in a service model, and we make sure that this is available for you as a company? By this, we can actually scale also in the possibilities of cost, keeping those costs under control, and we can secure it in multiple ways. We can secure it in our data security possibilities, in our IT security possibilities, and even in our security aspect in access control and all everything what's linked towards the security aspect or the real physical security of a building. Last but not least, we need to make sure that all this data is done properly and is aligned with GDPR and legislation. So we make sure for you that the onion structure that we put in place is ready to support you in all different aspects, and making sure that GDPR compliance is fully allowed and fully aligned with rules and engagements or regulations that are done in the European Union. And this is what we actually wanted to show you as an appetizer today, and want to make sure that within the future we can support you in all multiple ways on making your digital services ready for within your buildings. Thank you for taking the time on doing it to get in touch, and I think it would be interesting to check if there are some questions ready for this perspective. Is this smart model able to support multiple 5G? In other words, multi-operator support? Yes, it is. No, we are not the only ones that providing the connectivity. Of course, we provide the connectivity. The thing is that we are not limited towards the connectivity that is within the building. Of course, we would like to support on that perspective, but we don't support in a way. What's maybe interesting is we can provide with 5G a better possibility or better connectivity within the building, because I think everybody would have a positive thing on that you can always access your building. What we do from that perspective is we make sure that we have, of course, a fiber connection inside. We can have a backbone on 5G, on 4G, or even on connectivity. And this is all has to do with how you want to connect with your building and what's the uptime of your building you want to provide. Depending on the possibilities and the backup that you provide, you will be able to provide access for 99.9% until 95%, depending on the connectivity that you increase. So that's a response, I think, for Jan. Where can I download and try the mobile application? We are actually very open for you to make this introduction. What is actually important for that is you can download the application already online. We have some applications running, but they are tenant linked. So from that perspective, we'll actually rather invite you to come towards the location. And by inviting you towards the location to come and have a meeting with us to explain all possibilities in all multiple aspects, also in the backbone, you get automatically the response on interacting with the application, to download the application, and this invitation already gives you access towards the building at the moment that we have this meeting for a full day. So from that perspective, I would request for you to go more in detail and request for a meeting, a personal meeting with us, and we will make sure that you will have the possibility to download this. To what extent should companies make their employees' home working environment smarter? Well, that's a huge step. That's a huge discussion. I don't know if you have this discussion also with Margaret at the plenary session, with Michael and with Antoine, if I'm not mistaken. there is a big discussion on that purpose. The homework environment making smarter is more actually what's the added value for the working at home. Think about the allocation of certain costs. I heard stories about companies that were providing certain digital tools, let's say a very broad thing, an additional screen next to your laptop. A lot of people bought the screen themselves because it took too long for the company to intervene and to support them on getting additional screen for that. Meaning that from the moment certain companies came up and actually provided the screen towards them, most of them already had the implementation, had the budget on the table, and invested in a new screen for themselves to make sure that this is going on. If you provide this in this kind of solutions, we can intervene on that, we can support more quickly, be adequate and be faster to you as a service, and actually make sure that your employee itself is very pleased with the support that is being given to support this. Think about if you have a lot of interactions on internet connectivity at location. Why don't you provide an internet connectivity or a proper internet connectivity at home? Making sure that actually the influence of Netflix or other other streaming services are not degrading the quality of the network. I think a lot of us had this problem that they were having an important meeting, let's say, and were intervened by the Netflix streaming services of children in the neighborhood that would that wanted to do something else or had other impact within the personal network of the housing. If you take all this perspective towards location, then you can provide advantages and support towards the user itself. And this is where it becomes interesting. It's really to provide the efficiency and the support towards the people at home. And that's what we would like to propose on that perspective. So it's a little bit a discussion point and linked also towards the culture of the company. But these are really discussions that we love to have, and we do this actually with the full support with all our different services that we can include. Yes, I think these are most of the questions that has been aligned. So I would like to thank you for your attention. For sure, we are able to provide you additional information and invite you towards multiple locations where we can show the full application perspective, even the backbone on it, and how we can accelerate the possibilities in getting the full digital services for you as a home environment, as a workplace environment, or as a full advanced workplace solution provided by Proximus. Thank you very much.
Proximus. Think possible.